Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्ज भास्करं वन्दे समाधिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्त्यै. Namaste everybody.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we are still in the second shloka. Kimekam daivatam loke kimvapyekam parayanam स्तुवन्तः कम kamarchantah prapnuyut manava shubham. So this is the sloka we are seeing, and in the last class as we closed I gave you some tips as to how to read the slokas and do the separate the words and understand the what is how the shastra advises or rather I would say recommends how. Of course, language issue is there. One needs to have at least a fair idea of Sanskrit language to do that. But if you are interested, if you have that background of Sanskrit language, then this is the methodology you have to go about. That is what I briefly touched upon. So now we'll come back to the question. Loke ekam daivatam kim. That was the first question Yudhishthira has asked Bhishmacharya, right? What is that one devata, that one lord, that is spoken of in all the shastras, by whose order alone all the other devatas function, in fact the entire cosmos functions by whose order alone? That is the question. Then the next question he asks is, Kim va api ekam parayanam. So, as I was telling, when you do the Vakya Yojana, there are certain words will be missing in the verse. So you have to import those words from the previous sentence. So here, when you say Kimvapyekam Parayanam is the sentence in the Sahasranamam. But what we have to do to understand what it means, Loke, we have to bring from the previous sentence. So, Asmin Loke, Ekam Parayanam Kim. That is the prose form of this verse. Kimvapekam Parayanam should be understood as Asmin Loke, in this world. We will see the word, the meaning of the word Loke. Okay. Asmin Loke, Ekam Parayanam Kim. That is how we have to understand this this sentence. Okay. So what is that param ayana, that ultimate end mentioned in all the Shastras? Because here Adi Shankara takes the meaning of loke as Shastras. I'll come to that when we see the Bhashya. Okay. Then comes Tuvantaha, whose glories are to be sung. Come Archayantaha, who should be worshipped. Manavaha Shubham Prapnuyuhu. So, which is that one Daivatam, one Deva, one God, one Lord, whose glories are to be sung and who is to be worshipped, but for people to get auspiciousness and happiness. Shubham means, you can take both the meanings. Shubham means auspiciousness and also happiness. Manavaha means people. Prapnuyu means get, can get. Okay. So the essence of this question is, which is that one goal, that ultimate end mentioned in the Shastras, and which is that one Lord who is spoken of in the Shastras, by worshipping whom and by singing whose glories common people will get auspiciousness and happiness. This is the full meaning of that sloka. Okay. So now we will see the Bhashya. I will just read the Bhashya. You can just follow with your text. Kimekam Daivatam. He takes up one or two words and then he will explain those words. Deva ityartah swarte tadhita pratyaya vidhanat. Loke lokana hetu bhute samasta vidyasthane uktam. Yad ajnaya pravartante sarve iti pratamaha prashnaha, says Adi Shankara. Okay. So this is the first commentary of Adi Shankara, and which is very evident here from this commentary. Right? So he is actually going explaining each word very elaborately. That's what students do in examination. They will fill up pages after pages. So he says, Imekam Daivatam Deva ityartah swarte tadhita pratyaya vidhanat. So he starts from, actually, because the word Daivatam is an irregular form. So question will come, what is this form? Sanskrit students will ask, what is this Daivatam? So he explained there is the Tadhita Pratyaya which has been applied and it makes the word Deva into Daivatam. So right from explaining the Sanskrit grammar he starts. That is the beauty of Adi Shankara. He's a master in Sanskrit grammar. So he says that because of this Tadhita Pratyaya, this word Deva has been converted into Daivatam. So we must actually understood that as Deva only. The word Daivatam means Deva. Okay. So we will not go into the Tadhita Pratyaya and all, because otherwise this will become a Sanskrit grammar class. So he just says, understand Daivatam as Deva. That's what he says. Ishvara, or the Lord. Okay. Ekam Daivatam Kim, which is that one God. And the next word is Loke. And for that he explains, Lokana Hetu Bhute. Lokanam here means, normally Lokanam means to look, to see. Right? Probably the word look has come from Lokanam. Darshanam. Hetu Bhute means that which is the cause or the source for knowing or perceiving. Okay. Here, the word Loka is derived from Lokyate Anena. In Sanskrit, one word can be derived from different ways. Because a word can actually convey different meanings. So, Lokyate Anena means by which one gains knowledge. So, that is why he is using that meaning and says, Loka means Sarveshu Shastreshu. And that's what Vidyasthanam he is talking about, Adi Shankara. In all the Shastras. Because the Shastras are actually our eyes. All our knowledge about the right living we get from the Shastras. Okay. That's why wise men knowledgeable people see the world with the help of the Shastras. They interact with the world with the help of the Shastras. And Shastras talk about this Jagat, how we should perceive this Jagat, and how we should lead our life. This is what the entire scriptural literature is all about. Okay. And as all these are, discussed in Varnashrama Dharma, and also other, Manu Dharma, or other, so many scriptures are there. Everything is discussed how we should lead our life. Ignorant people only think that they are seeing the world with their external two eyes, which is there on their face, right? In fact, Tiruvalluvar, many of you know Tiruvalluvar, but those who don't know, is a very famous Tamil poet. And he says that those who see the world with their internal eyes of knowledge, Jnana Chakshuhu, are the ones who are real seers. That's why sages are called seers. Because they have seen the world, they have seen the truth, they have seen the reality with their eyes of wisdom. Not with these two eyes. These two eyes are very limited application. So that is what he says, Vidya Chakshuhu, right? Internal eyes of knowledge. Because whatever we see and experience, our attitude will be driven by the knowledge we have in our internal eyes. That we must actually understand. It's a very subtle thing. As our knowledge increases, our attitudes also undergo a change. And when this happens, we will also be happy, and everyone around us will also be happy. That is the importance of knowledge. And we are talking here about scriptural knowledge, knowledge of not some fictional stories. And we all want to be very happy every day, every moment. That can't be denied by anybody. But the problem is we don't have the knowledge to do it. How to go about it, we don't. And that is why we think that by looking at the world with these two eyes, we will get some knowledge with which we can be happy. That is our search for happiness. We are using these two eyes, right? And our rishis, mahatmas and all have seen the same world which we are seeing with their intellectual eyes, with their vidya chakshu. And also they have told us how to see this world through the vidya chakshu, with our internal eyes. We either don't learn from that guidance which they provide, or we just ignore them and then keep suffering and continue to search for happiness. That is our samsara living. And then some people will go, whenever they have problem, running to astrologers, this, that, and all. Okay. So the first preparation we should do in our life is we should first learn what we should do, what preparation we need to have to face any setbacks in our life. That is the first preparation we have to do. We will have setbacks. As long as we are in this world of transactions, we will have setbacks. Everything will not go as per our plan. So we must prepare ourselves how we should prepare, for those facing those setbacks. Because we can't dig a well when the house is on fire, isn't it? Well has to be dug well in advance. Or you can say a fire extinguisher has to be provided well in advance, kept there. You can't go and search. When the house is on fire, you can't go to the shop and try to buy a fire extinguisher. Similarly, advanced preparation is always necessary, and we don't need preparation for everything that is going well. We need preparation, both physical preparation, mental preparation, psychological preparation for all those things that can go wrong in our life. And how will we do the preparation? What preparation? How will we know what preparation we need to do? That is what, all these shastras are about. In fact, this preparation has to be a constant process. Yeah, we don't know when adversity will come to us. And like they do in corporates and all that, whenever you do something, you have the dry run, like they did for this COVID, so that everything goes smoothly at the time when the crisis is there. So you have to practice these remedies constantly. And when you go to an astrologer, the astrologer will tell this person, okay, what you should do is you should go around some, some Tirupati or Tiruvannamalai or some mountain temple. Around that temple, you have to go do a production. That is the parihara. Right? This fellow has not even, he doesn't even get up from his sofa to switch off the TV. And you ask him to walk 14 kilometers or 20 kilometers, you can imagine. So when the problem comes, if that is the pariharam, you have to prepare yourself for that. Just giving an example rather, right? So this preparation and practice of the remedies should be done very regularly. And from where we will get those solutions, he says samasta vidyasthane. So he refers to vidyasthanas. In the shastras, rather the shastras are called vidyasthanas. Vidyasthanas means places from where we can, sources of knowledge. Vidyasthanas. And there are 14 vidyasthanas generally spoken of. The 4 Vedas, right? 6 Angas of the 4 Vedas. So that makes it 10. That is 6 Angas are Siksha, Vyakarana, then Niruktam, Chandas, Jyotisha and Kalpa. 6 Angas are there. So these are 10. Then Mimamsa, Nyaya, Puranas and also Dharma Shastra. This makes it 14 Vidyasthanas. So all knowledge we need to lead a very happy life, a peaceful life is contained in these 14 Vidyasthanas. Some Acharyas, they include another 4 also. They're called Upavedas. They are, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, and Gandharva Veda, and also Arthashastra, economics. That is, all these 4 are also included. And some more acharyas, they include one more, Stapatya, which is architecture. Anyhow, these are all, the sources of knowledge for what we need to do, how we have to prepare ourselves to face the adversities. Okay. So then he says, Loke kim ekam daivatam yat agyaya pravartante sarve, which is that one God by whose command the whole world functions. And he quotes Bhishmasmat Bhataf Pavate, Bisho Deti Surya. These are mantras which occur in Taittiriya Upanishad and also Kathopanishad. Right? It means by whose command does the wind blow? But by whose command does the sun rise? See, Vedanta, when you come to it, there are a lot of statements you will come across, which are figurative statements. You must not take it literally. What is indicated here is there is an order in the universe. And that order makes everything go according to a perfect pattern. And that order is what we called Ishvara. So for us, Ishvara is there in the temple in the form of an idol at one intellectual stage in our life. When we actually cross that stage, when we say Ishvara does not have any form, what does that mean? Ishvara is in the form of this entire order which drives this whole universe. And we have to understand this order. Once we understand this order, we will understand Ishvara and his power. How is it that by whose order, by whose arrangement, the planets are going around the sun in perfect, rather movement. They don't come near each other unless there are certain points without creating any problem for the entire solar system. They have a set pattern and they go around year after year. You can observe that. That's how seasons change. Similarly, moon going around this the earth, perfect pattern. And it is because of all these things, the question is by whose order, who is controlling all these things? And the answer is it is the Devata is controlling, one Devata. So there is only one Devata who is, that's why he is asking Bhishmacharya, Yudhishthira is asking Bhishmacharya, which is that one Devata who is controlling everything. Right, so that is the Adi Shankara gives the examples from Taittiriya Upanishad, he quotes, right? What makes thoughts occur in our mind? See, we have to keep thinking. This is what is introspection. How do I get thoughts in my mind? Why do thoughts don't come to a dead body? Why is it that these thoughts come to my mind only when I am alive? So you say, oh, this is because I am alive, I have got this, I take breaths, that breath in, out. Anulom, Vilom, I do. So I am alive. What makes that Anulom, Vilom work? Next question. So if you go on questioning, at one stage your questions will stop. And then this only question will remain. Kimekam Daivatam Loke. That only question will remain in the head. Right? So there is an intelligent principle. That intelligence principle is what making the whole world go around. And the same intelligence principle is there in us. And because of that principle, we are able to gather knowledge. That is why when the life leaves the body has the brain, everything, all the things are there. In terms of the instrument, everything is there in the dead body also, but it cannot gain knowledge because that principle has left that body. It has exited that body. Now that intelligence principle is what we call the chit, the consciousness principle. Even though prana may be there, but if the chit is not working, no knowledge can be gained. Anyhow, I mean, you can go on discussing it, but the idea here is that that principle, that intelligence principle, that consciousness principle, because of which this entire world is going around, is what we call Ishvara is. So when you come to Vedanta, you don't understand Ishvara as Vishnu or Shiva or Brahma ji or any of the other devatas or Ganapathy or Saraswati. Our understanding of Ishvara is this entire order through which everything functions in this world in a smooth way. And the law of karma also is a part of that order. And that law of karma affects not only us, because karma, law of karma, there's got a vyashti karma, there is a samashti karma, there is a yuga karma phalam. Every yuga has got its own karma phalam. And that yuga, everybody has to experience that karma phalam. law of karma is very, very complicated, and I wouldn't say complicated, it's very complex. That's a better word. So many things has to take into account. Now people ask this question. You say law of karma is, it's my destiny, it controls my destiny. Now the tsunami comes, thousands of people actually, die in that. Is it that all their karmas, their destinies were same, so that they all died? The answer to that is, they did not die because of their karmas. They died because of the samashti karma. Samashti karma of that particular place at that particular time, the tsunami had to come, and these people were what we call in modern language collateral damage. Same thing, when an aeroplane crashes and all that, this is how we have to understand this law of karma. So even though that particular karma may not be there, but if it's overwhelming samashti karma and you somehow be part of that, you can get affected through the samashti karma also. That is why you see, when you get, when they see the horoscopes and all match, what are they matching? That when these two people join together, husband and wife, they should lead a happy life. So the karmas, the past karmas of the wife, of the girl, and the past karmas of the boy, which the astrologers, good astrologers, and not all Tom, Dick and Harry astrologers, good astrologers, very well learned astrologers, when they see the horoscopes, they can actually read the past karmas and what kind of results that past karmas are going to give to these two individuals, they can read. The entire Jyotisha Shastra, which is an Anga of the Vedas, have actually documented all these things. That is how we have to understand these horoscopes. So once you know that this karma is going to affect this person, this karma is going to affect this person, what they do is they try to do the match in such a way that somehow their life is going on smoothly. Now people ask, what after matching the horoscopes also, people have problem in their married life. They will ask this question, standard question, isn't it? To justify that there is no need to see the horoscopes. The answer is very simple. Even after a doctor gives a prescription, is there a guarantee that the patient will actually get cured? There is no guarantee. Isn't it? It depends upon which doctor you are going to. That doctor may not be as knowledgeable as some expert or specialist in the field. So he will give you some medicine which will not work. Similarly, you have to see, because in Kali Yuga, what has happened is every Tom, Dick and Harry can do anything. He can just learn a few this thing, and today internet is there. From there, they can learn all these things and become a very established astrologers. But Jyotisha Shastra is Satyam. I have my personal experience for that. I won't go into that, but it is Satyam. Jyotisha Shastra is a very valid knowledge. But having said that, it has its limitations. We must not depend upon Jyotisha Shastra for each and everything in our life. In fact, I actually go to the extent of saying, don't depend on Jyotisha Shastra for anything at all. But since we are in a society, there are certain circumstances we have to depend upon that. At least to know, what we should avoid, what we should indulge in. So I don't let us not get into that. So this principle, the Ishvara, needs to be understood as the order which actually makes the whole world go. Everything function. And this is what the Upanishads say, and that is why Adi Shankara is quoting that. By whose order does the sun rise? By whose order does the moon rise? The wind blows, seasons happen, right? So, Kimekam Daivatam Loke is which God has been spoken about in the Shastras. So Loke means here Shastras, right? So which is that one God which has been spoken about in the Shastras, whom by worshipping whom, by singing whose glories, human beings, common man can get peace and happiness. Shubham. So this is the first question. Now the second question, Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. Asmin loke ekam parayanam chakim param ayanam praptavyam sthanam yasmin nirikshite. Then he quotes one sloka, one mantra in fact. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayaha क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि तस्मिन् दृष्टे परावरे इति श्रुतेः हृदय ग्रन्थिर् विद्यते यस्य विज्ञानमात्रेण आनन्दलक्षणः मोक्षः प्राप्यते यद्विद्वान् न बिभेति कुतश्चनः यत्प्रविष्टस्य न विद्यते पुनर्भवः यस्य च वेदनात् एव वेदनात् तदेव भवति ब्रह्मवेद ब्रह्मैव भवति मुण्डकोपनिषत् इति श्रुतेः यद्विहायापरः पन्था नृणां नास्ति नान्यः पन्था विद्यतेयनाय श्वेतोत्तर उपनिषत् इति श्रुतेः तदुक्तमेकं परायणं लोके यत्तत् किमिति द्वितीय प्रश्नः. Long explanation Adi Shankara gives. We'll see the meanings. Okay. Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. He says Asmin loke ekam parayanam cha kim. What is that one and one ultimate goal, only ultimate goal to be reached by a jiva, which is mentioned in the Shastras, which is that goal which is mentioned in the Shastras, that ultimate goal which is to be reached by a jiva. The word ekam is a very, very important word because ekam means without a second, the only one. And that is the basis for the entire Advaita philosophy. Ekam, right? And in fact, in Brahma Sutra, there is a big discussion about this. The discussion is Srishtikarta. Ekaha va anekaha va. Is it one or many? And the conclusion arrived at after a major discussion into all philosophies is Srishtikarta is Ekaha. God is one. The creator is one. That is the conclusion they come to. So, while talking about the dharmas, Yudhishthira has been told about many devatas, their powers and all that. Every devata, in fact, for us, the way we have to understand the devata is a power. A power is there, we give it a name of devata. Not the other way around. This devata has got a power, if we say, then we are actually attaching a power to a devata. The way we have to understand is there is a certain power in the cosmos, in the order. And that power, we are giving it a form of a devata. That's all. That's how we have to understand. Right? So many devatas have been talked about, many powers have been talked about. Now he wants to know which is that one God, that one Ishvara, who is without a second, Ekam, which has been talked about in the Shastras. Because Yudhishthira has got some knowledge that this is all there, there is Shastras talk about so many things. But he wants to know which is that one Ishvara which is talked about in the Shastras, which a human being should have as his goal in life. Okay. So Shankaracharya says, Param ayanam praptavyam sthanam yasmin nirikshate. Praptavyam sthanam means the one end to be accomplished by all. Okay. Gaining which there is no other end to be accomplished. That is the only one. Once you gain that, nothing else is required. Nothing else is to be gained, right? Yasmin nirikshate means by knowing which. That is the literal translation. And he explained this by quoting this mantra. Vidyate hridaya gantir chidyante sarva samshayaha क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि तस्मिन् दृष्टे परावरे. So this is from Mundaka Upanishad, this mantra. So, what is that one Ishvara by knowing which Vidyate Hridaya Grantihi, the knots of the heart are broken. They are untied. Okay. Now, what are these knots? He doesn't explain here. But elsewhere, Adi Shankara talks about this. These knots are, he says, three things which are there. Avidya, Kama, Karma. Avidya means ignorance, Kama desires, and Karma actions. So the entire problem of our samsara, or all the unhappiness, the sorrow, the miseries that we face in our life is because lack of knowledge, ignorance of all this, what we are talking about, ignorance of all these things, ignorance of that one paraya, that goal. And what happens because of that ignorance of what we should do, we think that there are so many things that we should do to become free, be liberated. So there are desires which come in the heart or in the mind. And once desires come, actions follow to fulfill those desires. And this becomes a vicious circle. Avidya kama karma, avidya kama karma, this becomes a vicious circle. This is what Adi Shankara refers to as Hridaya Grantihi, the knots in the heart. They all bind us. These knots are binding all the jivas. That is why we call it is a bandhana, samsara bandhana. Okay. And these knots, they manifest in what forms? Anger, hatred. Once you have desires, all these follow. Desires not fulfilled, anger. Then raga, dvesha. Desires for certain things, hatred for certain other things. All these things follow, right? So these are all called samsara bandhanam, the knots of the heart. Rather. Pain mixed with pleasure, as I say, Mishraji. Right. So this is what is the, what he has, what he says. Vidyate hridaya grantihi chiyante sarva samshaya. All the doubts are set aside. I mean, they are destroyed actually. All delusion which is there in the mind is destroyed. Chiyante sarva samshaya. Okay. Then he says, chidyante sarva samshaya. Vidyate hridaya gantihi chidyante sarva samshaya. So all the delusion, all the doubts in the mind are destroyed. Then chiyante chasya karmani. Here karmani we have to understand as his karmas, punya papas. Chiyante, they become weak. The punya papas, they become very weak. Chiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. So, by seeing that or by knowing that one Ishvara, that one God, all these things happen. So the Mundaka Upanishad, it says that by knowing all these things, by knowing that one Ishvara, all the knots of the hearts are untied, means you are out of avidya, kama, karma. First thing, right? And then that leads to removal of all samshaya in your mind, and also that leads to removal of all your karmas. In essence, what is being talked about is what is the secret of getting this to moksha purushartha. That is the bottom line that he is talking about. Okay. So, this is what Shankaracharya is explaining. So, yeah, Shrutehe Hridaya Grantihi Vidyate. Yasya Vijnana Matrena Ananda Lakshanaha Mokshaha Prapyate. That's what I said. By knowing which, Vijnana Matrena, by knowing that, only by knowing that, Matrena is there, right? Ananda Lakshanaha, in the form of eternal happiness. Moksha prapyate, one gets that moksha. One understands that moksha and then gets the eternal happiness. So this is what we have to understand. This sloka is this is only Kimba Pegam Parayanam is the only sentence in the Vishu Sahasranamam. But so much of meaning we have to derive out of that, as Adi Shankara helps us to do that. Yeah. And then when he talks about this, he is again quoting from the Upanishads, right? Yad vidwanna vibheti kutaschanaha. By knowing that, one does not have any fear of any kind. Na vibheti, does not have any fear. Or in fact, to put it other way, one overcomes all fears in his life. So that is how we have to understand. So what are all the benefits of this moksha purushartha is being brought in here. One by one, the benefits Adi Shankara is listing, right? Yat pravishtasya na vidyate punarbhavaha. Once you have known this, punarbhavaha, there is no rebirth. Na vidyate punarbhavaha. Punarbhavaha, rebirth does not happen. One is freed from this one aspect of the samsara, which is punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. That is one aspect of the samsara. We saw two aspects of samsara, right? Janma samsara bandhanat, when we saw, these are two aspects. One is janma and samsara. These two are called bandhanams. So janma was one bandhanam, and janma I explained it as punarjanma, that is rebirth. And that he connects beautifully, because here he says what? Chiyante chasya karmani. All his karmas are weakened, or in fact they are resolved. Once karmas are resolved, no rebirth. Isn't it? Because rebirth, cause of rebirth is only the karma balance. In order to exhaust the karma, only the jiva takes a rebirth. So once you understand Ishvara in this manner, and once you become a mukta purusha, you understand what is moksha, and attain that moksha, there is no punarbhava, no rebirth. Right? Yasya cha vedat tadeva bhavati. By knowing which, a person becomes that itself. That is why, all Mahatmas and all, say that knowing Brahman, you become Brahman. And for that, Adi Shankara is giving Brahma Veda Brahmaiha Bhavati. Brahmaiva Bhavati, again Mundaka Upanishad is quoting. By knowing Brahman, one becomes that Brahman itself. So here, what is required is the knowledge of that Brahman. That Brahman, is the one which is actually controlling or making everything in this entire cosmos go around, or work according to a design, including our body-mind complex. It is that Brahman which is actually making it do. So once you understand that Brahman, assimilate and get the knowledge of that Brahman, assimilate that knowledge. Assimilation means that knowledge of that Brahman, you make it, a doubtless knowledge in your mind. In short, saying that understand the full import of the Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi. When I say full import means it is not easy to understand. When you are taking yourself as Aham Dehosmi, or even some case Aham Dasosmi, to say Aham Brahmasmi takes a lot of courage. To say that I am the one which is actually making the whole world go around takes a lot of courage to say that. But then the Upanishads, the Shastras are saying that only. You get this knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, that is what is moksha, that is what will guarantee you eternal happiness, which is what you are searching every nook and corner in every experience. You are looking for happiness. I am telling you one way to do that is this. Only way to do that, in fact. And mind you, it is only Advaita Siddhanta which makes this bold statement that you can become a Mukta Purusha, you can attain moksha while living itself. You don't need to look for moksha after death, going to Swargaloka or Vaikuntha or Kailasa and all that. In fact, that is not moksha. That can be called a temporary moksha. That is also talked about in the Shastras rather, because one aspect is Sadhyo Mukti. Sadhyo Mukti means moksha or liberation here and now in this life. Another aspect which Shastra talks about is Krama Mukti. In Krama Mukti, you actually, a jiva gets lot of punya and he goes to Brahmaloka. And in Brahmaloka, the jiva gets this knowledge of the self, Atma Jnanam, from Brahmaji himself. And that Brahmaji gives towards the end of the pranaya, rather towards the end of the creation. So once the creation ends, those jivas actually become totally free. They don't have a rebirth. But if you don't get that knowledge in the Brahma Loka, for whatever period you are staying in that Brahma Loka, because you are staying in the Brahma Loka because of your punya. Chine punye martya lokam vishanti. Once the punyas are exhausted, even if you go to Brahma Loka, you will return back to this Bhuloka only and get into the back into the cycle of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Mananam, earning all karmas, Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, Agami karma, everything you are back to square one. So here, what is talked about in the Upanishads is not Krama Mukti. In the Upanishads, when they are talking about Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati, it is talking about Sadhyo Mukti. Once you understand and get the knowledge of Brahman, assimilate that knowledge. In fact, Aham Brahmasmi should be the knowledge and not at your conscious level. It should be the knowledge at your subconscious level. For that Vedanta, there are sadhanas for doing that. So at the subconscious level, you must understand I am Brahmasmi. I am not this body mind complex. I am not so and so and so. I am not tall. I am not short. All these, tallness or shortness or fatness, everything related to the body-mind complex. I am not that body-mind complex. I am a resident in that body-mind. This is what is the Vedanta knowledge. So that is what he is saying. Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati means the one who understands and knows this Brahman in totality, completely, he himself becomes that Brahman. That is Mundaka Upanishad. Iti Shrutehe. Then Yat Vihaya Paraha Pantha Nrinam Nasti. And then he is quoting from Shvetosttara Upanishad, and this comes in Purusha Suktam also. What is that? Nanya Pantha Vidyateya Naya. What does that mean? There is no other way. There is only way for this moksha, for your eternal happiness, is to know that Brahman, and then once having known, become that Brahman itself. There is no other way. Jnanena evatu kaivalyam. That's what Shastra says. Only by knowledge you can get kaivalyam, means kevalasya bhavaha moksha. Because many others, acharyas who don't belong to the sampradaya, other acharyas, they say there are 4 paths to moksha. All this confusion they create. There's so many confusions which is created. But all that confusion, because they have no grounding in Vedas, they have no grounding in Shastras. In fact, they have no grounding in any of the Vidyasthanas. They pick up something from here and there and talk about, there is a karma yoga will lead to moksha, jnana yoga marga, then the third is what? Raja yoga marga. So many 4 paths to moksha. Bhakti marga, jnana marga, karma marga, and what's the yoga? Raja yoga marga. This is all there prevalent, and many people will get confused about all these things. But Shastras are very clear. Sampradaya teachers, gurus are very clear. Jnanena evatu kaivalyam. You can get moksha, liberation, freedom from all your miseries, from all your problems in life, only through knowledge. And to get that knowledge, you need to use your inner eyes, not with these 2 eyes. And what is that knowledge? It is knowledge of Kimekam Daivatam Loke. That knowledge of that one Deva, that Brahman, because of which everything is functioning. Right? So it is a Nanya Panta Vidyate Naya Iti Shrutehe. Okay. Tad Uktam Ekam Parayanam Loke Yat Tat Kimiti Dutiya Prashna. So he says this is the second question which Yudhishthira has asked. One second. Iti, yes. This is the second question Yudhishthira has asked. Okay. So 2 questions are completed. Now we go to the third question. And the third question is in the next sloka.
Namaskaram, Mama. Just a doubt. Can you please repeat the meaning of Stuvantakam Kamarchantaha?
Okay. That I have not covered. Okay, right. So, Kam Katham Devam Stuvantaha. So, Kam means Katham, which, right? Devam. Devam means we have seen the word Deva, right? Stuvantaha. Stuvantaha, Bhashyakara says, Guna Sankirtanam Kurvantaha. Guna Sankirtanam Kurvantaha means whose glories are sung, right? Singing whose glories. So this is Stuvantaha. This is the meaning of Stuvantaha. Then next is Kam katamam devam archantaha. Tam katamam devam, we know which deva. Archantaha bahyabhyantaram cha archanam bahuvidam kurvantaha. Manav, okay, bahuvidam kurvantaha. Now this needs understanding. I mean, basically, he says that archana, doing puja. By doing whose puja? What type of puja? Bahya, antara, both types. Bahya puja is external puja, which we do. No, like you do Vishnu Sahasranamam Archana, Lalita Sahasranamam Archana, and all that. Nama, Vishnave Namaha, all that Namaha Namaha, and then we do Archana, the Bahya puja. And when we are doing Bahya puja, all three, Kayikam, Vachikam, Manasam aspects are involved in Bahya puja. Because everything is involved, and the Bahya puja requires a lot of materials also. So you first do a, what's it called? Have an idol or a photo or something. When you do a prana pratishta, in that, visualize that Ishvara in that idol or photo, and then do the sankalpa. For this purpose I am going to do the puja, and then do all the puja, archana, and then shodashopachara archana, and all that. We know those who are familiar with all these things. This is a bahya puja he talks about. Or there is a manasa puja also. Manasa puja, you don't need any material. Manasa puja is only mind. You can do the puja in the mind of Ishvara. And in fact, there are, Shiva Manasa puja is a very famous puja in all that Abhishekam and all. Whenever they have the Rudrabhishekam, they chant Shiva Manasa puja. But of course, they chant the Shiva Manasa puja. It is supposed to be a Manasa puja, and you are supposed to do it in the mind. In fact, the process for doing this puja is, whenever you, especially for Shiva puja, after you do the sankalpam and all, first you do the Manasa puja. When you do the Manasa puja, you are bringing the Lord into your mind. And once you have done the Manasa puja and also do all these, Anganyasa, Karanyasa and all that, then that state in which you are, with that state you are doing the puja, external puja. In fact, the whole sankalpam is all about visualizing the entire Ishvara in your own self, and then doing the puja. So this is the Manasa puja part and the external. This is Bahya puja part, he says, right? Bahya abhyantaram cha archanam bahuvidam kurvantah. Bahuvidam means different ways of archana, are there. We can do laksharchana, we can do Sahasranamam archana, or even Ashtotra archana. So different ways you can say, with different materials also. Bahuvidam, you can get into different materials also. You can use flowers, you can use leaves, you can use kumkumam, so many. Bahuvidam, you can imagine what all things can be used for this. You can visualize that. Manavaha means manusutaha. Basically, I will explain that in the next class almost time. So I will just finish it, but I will explain this all in detail in the next class. Okay. Shubham. Shubham means Kalyanam. And he says Swargadi Phalam. All good results in your life, including a Swarga, going to Swarga and all. But that is also one of the stages. Even though that is not moksha, still many people have desire for going to Swarga. So including that, Manavaha Manusutaha Shubham Prapnuyuhu Labheran iti Punaha Prashnadvayam. That's what he says. Okay. So this is the two more, that is. So the first question was Kimekam Daivadam Loke. Second was Kim Ekam Parayanam. Third is Kam Stuvantaha. Fourth is Kam Archantaha. By doing all this, Manavaha Shubham Prapnuyuhu. A human being will get Kalyanam, Shubham, happiness, peace, and a good life, including moksha or going to Swarga. This is what he says. So we'll stop here. Continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Om Guruji. Namaste Guruji.
Namaste, Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaste,
Thank
Guruji.
you.
Namaskaram.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaskaram.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. Any questions are there? If not, we can close.
Namaskaram, Guru.
Namaskaram.
Namaste Guruji, thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, Guruji.
So, looks like the questions are there. So we will close and then meet on next Sunday. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you.